Hey, and welcome back to Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. My name is Satchmo. This is episode 41. We are coming down to the end of this particular series of Kerbal Space Program, and I guess we'll be talking a little bit about that during this episode. But I do want to mention this will probably be the last, for a while, this will be the last couple of episodes, this last mission. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see about doing that mission. Today we're going to go to Eve and Gilly, and the moon of Eve. And we're going to be doing that in a modified Rubik. Is that, we'll just load that one since it's at the top. And what do we have here? 13, 950, and Delta V. Let's delete this fairing. Let's just delete it. And, okay. Yeah, we don't want this whole landing rig at the top, so we can get rid of that. Or do we? No, we don't. I want to do something else. All right, so we'll keep this up. Get rid of that. This is all fine. This has been serving us well, right? We've taken this exact thing to Elu. Was the first time we used it, and when we took it to Jewel, and I think we took it to Moho too. Yeah, that's right. 3, because that's why we're at 3. So now we're at 4. Do Rubik 4. This has been a heck of a mission. Goes to Moho. This one says goes to Eve and Gilly. So yeah, we'll be doing that. But I do want to do something, slightly different than we do. I don't want to do the same thing over and over and over again. So I'm going to add something to the top of here. And I think what I'm going to add is, let's see, an unmanned core with a, let's see, something. It needs something. How about a little payload? Where's payload? There we are. Service bay. Open up. And just a little care package, right? Put a little battery in there, and it's too small, too big. Something. I'll put some stuff in here. I don't know what. Oh, I know. Hold up. How about another battery for one? We'll just close that up. There we go. Oh, it clips the thing. That's a shame. Well, you know what? The core will just be batteries. There we go. The levels of give a crap are small. Let's see if we can, instead of type direct, let's do a relay. And we'll stick that kind of on the side here. Like that. Yeah, it'll just be a core with some batteries and a relay. And parachutes. Let's see. This thing is obviously incredibly light. There we are. Put a couple of those on there as well. Okay. Yeah, and that's literally going to be it. That's going to be all we're going to do is stick that kind of stuff on there. And we'll see if it soft lands. Hopefully it'll soft land. What is the impact tolerance of these batteries? I've never landed on a battery before. 8 meters a second impact tolerance. So, pretty high. I think this would be fine because this is very, very light. So, I guess the only thing to worry about is these batteries being too high up for the center of mass. So let me move this down. There we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna be sending, oh wait, solar. It needs solar, because it's gonna run out of battery. Oops. I almost considered that a minute ago, and then I didn't. How about that? I don't know how much output that thing has. We'll put that on there. So yeah, this is like a little weird thing. I'm literally just trying to like throw something together. I'm not trying to like make a statement with it at all. It's just gonna be what it is, you know. It also needs a heat shield to survive re-entry. Okay, that's it. Yeah, okay. So it's literally just gonna be an antenna sitting on Eve. I'm just gonna drop this off in the atmosphere and see if it'll float down by itself, and we'll just be an antenna on Eve. Yeah, very exciting, I know, but that's what we're gonna do today. So, okay, there we go. That's taken care of. The rest of the Rubik can just be the Rubik, and that's okay. 14 grand delta V sounds fine. Let's go ahead and build the fairing. I want to say after test this enough times that we've flown it enough times, but I don't really have to worry about the there we go. The structural integrity of it. I think everything should be okay in terms of that. There we go. Because you know how these things tend to kind of to wobble around at these kind of weak points right here. This stack separator tends to be a weak point, and even right here where the AEFF3 Airstream Protective Shell meets the fuel tank here, this tends to be a weak point too. But you can see I have it kind of strutted up, and if I remember correctly, this is fine the way it works. So we're just gonna fly that. And everything else is fine. The science back down here is stuff that we've been using already. We're going to fill it full of crew. Well, we'll do that momentarily. So, okay. So anyway, this is going to work just fine for our purposes. We're going to save it, and then we're going to leave because I want to do one more thing before we actually take our last journey. That vehicle cost. Let's see, Rubik 4. 336,000. Yeah, 336,000. So I make sure I have enough money to do that. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and upgrade everything, right? Because I don't think we've fully upgraded everything. Max parts supported 255. I didn't even realize that was a limit because I've just been building to my heart's content and we haven't hit it yet. So that's fine. But we had a limit and we never needed it. And then let's see what we can do here. Unowned object tracking. Okay. We have that now. That's fully upgraded. That's fully upgraded. That's fully upgraded. We can upgrade to have more Kerbals. We can upgrade to 255 again. We can upgrade our space plane hangar to be fully upgraded. Mission control to be fully upgraded. It gives us more missions and stuff. Okay, there we go. It would be a shame to get this far in the game and or to end this series and not have a fully upgraded complex. And then we still have 725 grand left, so we still have enough of a budget to actually send the thing up. So, at any rate, I just wanted to do that. And of course, we already have the fully upgraded tech tree, or fully unlocked tech tree. So, since the two missions of this series were to do the tech tree and to go to all the celestial bodies, I'd say let's just go to Eve, and that'll be that. Now, I wish... Now, here we go. We can send, we'll see the 3 orange jackets there. Because at this point, it doesn't really matter who goes. It seems poetic to send these 3. Fortunately, we don't have a scientist. Shucks. Because I'm going to want to reset the stuff. Okay. Well, Jeb's got to go. I would normally send Val, but... Sorry, Val. No, sorry, Bill. Let's send Val. And where's the scientist? You can go. Alright, so poetics be damned. We're going to send these 2 and then a scientist so we can reset our experiments. Alright, let's launch. So anyway, we're going to go up to Eve. We're going to send a little, we're going to send like literally a couple batteries down to the planet and see if we can put a relay there. I don't think that relay is actually strong enough to really do very much. Because I don't think at that point in the sun's orbit I have anything else there that it can actually communicate with. But maybe in the future I'll add more relays up in the network, and we'll be glad that we have it there. Let's just say that. So that is something. A lot of this episode is going to be kind of retrospect. That is something that I didn't do a lot of in this series, that I have done in my own playthroughs, but there just wasn't a whole lot of time for me to... it's very samey, sending up like a relay network, you know, you just kind of just launch it, and then you launch another one, and you launch another one, and you launch another one. And it wasn't really something I wanted to spend a lot of time on in this particular series. It's just sending relay satellites up. But I am aware that in your playthrough, and indeed in my personal playthroughs, you would have probably sent a lot more relay satellites up than I did. So, and if for some reason you're watching this and you haven't done a playthrough of your own yet, I would encourage you to probably consider doing that. Especially if you're going to be doing unmanned things, which you very well may. If you get your Kerbals stranded up in space, you may be forced to do unmanned missions. At any rate, relay satellites are imperative for that. So yeah, I would probably have more relay satellites up than we currently have. Or I would recommend that anyway. At any rate, yes, we are going to have one down on the surface of Eve, just kind of hanging out. And then that'll be just something for us to do. I considered like landing on Eve or landing on Gilly, and I think that's probably the more like exciting conclusion to the series would be to land on Eve and come back home. It's a really exciting thing to do, and it's very difficult to do. But right now, the amount of work that would require and the amount of it just would, I don't think the gain for it would be worth what I'd have to put into it. You've already seen me do it on so many other planets. I don't know that it's really necessary. Having said that, if it is something anybody wants to do, I will hop back in and do it. I just didn't think at this point. I think it'd be kind of nice just to check Eve off our list and then call it a day. Now my plans, and they're not fully fledged yet, but my plans are that I will do kind of like I'm doing with Factorio, where I will this is a beautiful launch, where I will deploy. We are out of the atmosphere now, so it's not a big deal. I'm gonna hang on to that save file, and I'll probably just play a little bit here and there on my own time, and then maybe revisit it in future episodes. So I think in the future, when I do things, instead of like loading up a sandbox or something like that to do Kerbal stuff, I'll just be loading up this save game. 1 second, let me focus on this. 103 seems fine. That's an apoapsis. And we'll circularize, which shouldn't take much at all to circularize. I was going to guess around about 100. We're at 140, so 102, 103. Cool. Did I launch the yes, there they are. The solar panels are out. Anyway. Yeah, we will be I'll be going back and revisiting this in the future, and instead of loading up a sandbox mode or whatever else to do fun KSP things, I'll use this as my save file. And to anybody who has seen this, or to anybody watching, they'll know that whatever I do in the future will be built upon the efforts that we did in this series, and that'll be kind of cool. So at least I hope so. So right now, I don't need to explain this, but we're just doing a little bit of circularization, and then I'm just going to find the right time to fly down to Eve. I, at this point, have no idea. Oh, close approach, 18 kilometers to whatever that is. Let's see, 654. Do a small little circularization burn. Okay, well enough. Wow, actually better. 102,982 and 102,863. That's very, very circular. So, probably the best so far. Go ahead and point prograde, since that's the direction that we're eventually going to be going anyway. and we'll start setting up a maneuver. We'll target Eve. Hello, Eve. Now, Eve is a little bit inclined with respect to Kerbal. You can see if I zoom in a little bit, not much. So one of the ways to fix things here would be to actually be at an ascending node with Eve whenever you perform this maneuver, which is something I'm not going to bother with because of all the time warping required, but that is something you can consider in your own playthroughs. I'm going to be going on the front side of the planet, just past the Terminator, over there-ish, because as I've demonstrated before, I need to be adding velocity to the Kerbal system, or Kerbin system, and subtracting it from the Kerbal system, and that's how we're going to be going faster, but lower in orbit. And there, right now, all I'm worried about is getting kind of out to a similar altitude. So this is going to be fine for me. In fact, I'm actually going to do this still with this Rockomax bottom stage. So while we're going to have a ton of Delta V. And it's only a 48-second burn. Likewise, that's going. I went into such a high orbit, so I didn't hit the planet on the way back down using the atomic motors. That doesn't seem to be an issue here because we're not going to be using the atomic motors. So, very cool. Now that I'm oriented, I can actually properly warp. Of course, we're looking for 24 seconds on the burn time. So, ooh, okay, good. Almost passed it up. The moon in the background. Gorgeous. And fire. Right, so like I was saying, I'll probably come back to this series and do fun challenges and maybe even some cinematic things. Something I've been considering might kind of help the channel out a little bit and might be a fun treat. But that's going to be, like the way I'm doing these videos now is I'm trying to record 5 videos a week. Sometimes I do them every day and record like the next day's video the day before. Sometimes I spend the weekend and do them and release them all throughout the week or whatever. But typically, the amount of game time that I spend is pretty proportional to how long the videos are. With something like that, like the crazy things that you can do in this game, like moon colonies and whatnot, that kind of stuff requires a pretty significant investment of time, especially when it's heavily edited and stuff the way that it tends to be. Let's go ahead and quick save, and we'll look at things. And we'll time warp out of the system. But those things are, of course, very fun and impressive. So I've been considering perhaps doing some more of that kind of stuff. So now what I can do, I don't know if I've demonstrated this or not. I think I have. I'll just add a maneuver. And I'm not even going to mess with the maneuver. It's just going to stay here at 0.0 meters a second. I'm just going to change the orbit. And just essentially ask the game to calculate where our approaches are going to be. And I'm not getting any kind of approach at all. So it must be that yes, there it is right there. I'm just too far to even be considered at a close approach to the planet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be somewhat efficient with this, even though I don't need to be. I'm going to warp way over here. And I'm going to perform an inclination maneuver at the descending node. I'm going ahead and turn on normal. And I'm going to change our inclination and then probably do a little bit of an altitude adjustment as well. And see if we can get something. And then I'll do the same thing again. Yeah, so doing really cinematic things like moon colonies or like advanced space stations type stuff. First thing is, none of that's necessary in this game. I've demonstrated. I've gone to all the bodies. I've gotten all the signs that the game asks you to get. I was able to complete all kind of different missions and whatnot. Actually, that is something I haven't done. There are several mission types in the game that I haven't done, or even really tried. That's something to think about. perhaps I should do some more missions and stuff. But at any rate, that kind of stuff becomes arbitrary, and the game becomes just kind of playing it for the fun of playing it. And that's why in this game you get so many people doing such like wacky things, because it's just it's part of the fun that you have to make for yourself in this game. It's just doing crazy, ridiculous things. Let me pull up Kerbal Engineer. We'll do the rendezvous, and I'm looking right here at the relative inclination. And I'm just going to burn until this number goes down. And you see now I am starting to get close approaches. Go ahead and get some of this stuff off the screen. I'll move it around a little bit. There we go. Decouple. Decouple. And then now we're using our atomic motors. And yes, here we are. Still with changing the relative inclination. I'm going to wait a second because now the descending node has moved ahead of us. So let me try to catch up to it. And we'll physics warp to speed things along. Again, just focusing right here on this number right here. And I'm going to get that to probably the thousands place. And call that good enough. Now I am adding a little bit of velocity, so my altitude's going to change a little bit while doing this, but okay. That's fine. 0.03 is fine for now. Okay, so we're relatively similarly inclined. Go ahead and turn off that. And now what I'll do again, I'll just click anywhere, add a maneuver, and then I'll change the orbit and just see. There we go. Now as I click the orbit button, you can see on the different orbits where the two of us are. Oh. And there we go. After several orbits, I get that approach, which is very, very close. So I'm going to use this orbit and make some adjustments. And where are we at here? Oh, it disappeared as it got really close together. Let's bring it back. And let's do a little bit of a radial type maneuver. Should be getting really close. There we go. There's an intercept. So there we go. That's another way. I don't know that I've demonstrated that in this playthrough or not, but that's something you can do. Is just click through the orbits to see when you get closest, and then do a maneuver, which in this case is only going to cost us less than 60 meters a second to actually perform. So I do have a lot of warping to get through to actually get to that point. It's going to take 4 years to do that. If that's something you don't mind, then you can use this method. But anyway, let me go ahead and put an edit here so I can take a quick break, grab some coffee, and we'll talk some more on the other side. Alright, here we are coming up on it. Just a little bit of time warping left before we can fire up the engines. This is always like kind of the nerve-wracking part, is trying to not go over that number. And I do pretty frequently pass it up, but it tends to not be a big deal when you're this far out. Oh, okay. And oh yeah, I do need to give ourselves enough time to actually roll over to the maneuver. I'm glad that that's not taking too terribly long. So I am going to pass it up just a hair, but again, in the deepness of space, it doesn't really matter. Fire up the engines. Apply some time warp so we can speed things along. A lot of time warping. It took to, let's kill that, let's kill that. We'll do the rest of this manually. Just waiting to see when the color, there it is, when the colors change. So there we go. We got an intercept, and that's all I'm really worried about. I'm going to find, here I am, here it is. I'm going to find somewhere kind of in the middle. There we go, and I'm also going to focus view on Eve and modify our approach here. So let's use some prograde and retrograde to see if we can get closer. And indeed, yes, that seems to be working just fine. Now, Eve has a pretty high gravity well. So, yeah, you can see how much my craft is warping around. Also, the atmosphere starts really, really high up. I want to say it's like 90k. So, you really don't want to get too close. I do want to get on the other side of it, though. Yeah, around that side. And then we'll make smaller adjustments to change our inclination. In fact, what I'd like to do is maybe get an inclination with Gilly. So let me let's just see if that's possible. It may not be, or I'll at least be more inclined. There we go, something like that. Looks like it shoots me off at an angle that's more similar to Gilly's. So since that's where we're going next anyway, we'll just go ahead and do that. And then we will change a little bit of our prograde, retrograde to get a little bit closer. Or a lot a bit closer. And right there should be fine. And then I'll make the rest of the adjustment. But yeah, look at that curvature. That's huge curvature. And I'm only 145k away. So yeah, Eve is massive. Eve is a very, very big planet. So there we go. That is the maneuver that I like. And I'll time warp to get onto the maneuver node, and then even more time warp until we can actually go to that maneuver. Although I don't think I have to put an edit in, because this is just 80 days away. It's pretty quick. So now I was talking about the future of this series, but how about the future of the channel as a whole? Well, I've already mentioned I think I'm going to do maybe Sniper Elite next, which I have kind of mixed feelings about. I really want to play that game, which, I mean, I've played it before, but really want to play it again. I've kind of been in a mood for it, and I've also done a little bit recently. Hold on, let me focus so I can get a little closer. I've played it a little bit recently to see if it's something I feel comfortable even in doing on camera, and I've been having a good time with it. It's just that the game is so dissimilar to the other stuff on his channel. You know, I kind of worry about that. 29 seconds. Boom. I got that one just right. That is a concern, is that it's just too dissimilar from the rest of the stuff that I've done, which tends to be a little more science. Well, I guess with the exception of Dark Souls, but I abandoned Dark Souls because nobody was watching it. It was just a lot of effort. I do plan on going back to Dark Souls, however. If anybody watching this is a fan of Dark Souls, go give that series some support and we can revitalize it. Because I really do like that game and want to play it some more, but it was just, it was too much of a time sink with how much I was getting out of it in terms of the channel. So, let me see if I can focus on this just for a second. Okay. And where did we end up here? 117. Okay. Beautiful. Time for a quick save. And what I'm going to... Well, I'm going to go ahead and warp into the SOI. And we'll be there, and then I'll quick save, and we'll do all the fun stuff that we need to do around Eve. But I also don't mind bouncing on several different series. So Sniper Elite would be fun. I would do it on hard, what do you call it? Authentic Plus difficulty. The highest difficulty the game has to offer, with like proper like bullet drop and wind effects, and the enemies are really tough. So I would do it in max difficulty, which I think would probably pull some people in it. But let's see how long. What's it gonna take to slow down here? There we go. Wow, not a lot at all to slow down. And then I wonder too, can I set this as my target now? And is there anything I can do here to change that inclination? Not really. Not really. So I'm gonna leave well enough alone. I'm just gonna leave this as a capture, and then we'll do the rest of our stuff. So let's go ahead and get a maneuver. Set up a maneuver. And yeah, to a 238 meter second capture. Wow, this is really interesting. This seems like way less delta V than I should be spending on some of this stuff. While we're out here, actually, let's go ahead and I tend to be very focused on just like go with the stuff that I have to do. And I forget that, also let's take a look around, actually look at the planet and get some of our science and whatnot. The planet is too far away to see, though. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere. Maybe I'm just missing it. Yeah. Let's point anti-normal. I'll speed warp, flip this guy around. The thing looks so silly flipping around like that. There we go. And then I'll hop out and grab all the science. So, Tanven, let's hop out. And all hatches obstructed, can't exit. Well, that blows. That wasn't the case last time. Wow, that really sucks. How did I do it last time? Did I take off one of the parachutes? I don't remember. Well, that sucks. Well, we'll do the crew report and open up the materials bay. Why is there nothing in the materials bay? Wow. I must have modified the Rubik 3. This is what happens when you don't check up on that kind of thing. It's it's like being a senior in school. You're like, okay, well, whatever. Okay, so I don't know when or how, but I took out all of these science instruments from this bay on the previous version, and I knew I should have checked it too before I launched, but I was just trusting that this same craft had all the science equipment on it, and it didn't, so... Well, whatever. So we don't have any science, and we can't get out to do an EVA. That's pretty silly, but it is what it is, so... Anyway, let's go ahead and warp in. Let's see which direction we're... There it is. Beautiful. Big old planet. Let's go ahead and time warp to our thing. So yeah, it's frustrating. We're not going to get all the science and stuff that we would normally get. But, kind of like I was saying earlier, I know this is like kind of a pessimistic view to have, but there's really not a whole lot of reason at this point to do this stuff anyway, except for just, because you want to. So, let's go ahead and, what is a 143? 30, 20, 50, 52 seconds? Sounds about right. Beautiful purple planet. Very cool looking. It is very cool looking. Alright. Near enough. Let's just go ahead and fire it up. It's also kind of cool that I'm burning kind of like off axis like this. But that was my attempt to get a little bit closer to the inclination of Gilly. But I'm still taking enough Delta V out of the system here to get myself a capture. Alright, and kill it. Let's go time warp as well. Let's point retrograde, because that'll be the next thing that I have to do. Yes, okay, I do indeed have a capture. And we'll go ahead and warp out there. We'll let the game do it, so I don't mess anything up. And now what we're going to do, before we do anything else with Gilly, is we're going to kind of launch our payload. And we're going to see how that thing fares. I'm really curious to see. So we need to do it in such a way... Well, first things first, let's go ahead and reduce our apoapsis. Now we're already captured, so really anything that gets into the atmosphere will eventually come down to the planet. So that's really my only goal here, is reducing my apoapsis to that point. So 90, I think, is where the atmosphere starts. We're going to come in maybe like 80. Shouldn't be too... I really don't know. I'm going to assume 80 is fine. Okay. And then it'll actually be a little less than 80 because of the ejection force of the thing. But let me warp actually 2 apoapsis, which is still a day away. Okay, there we go. Now I'm actually at apoapsis. Now I have to do a couple extra things. I'm not going to have a control of this craft as it's going down because actually I need a point prograde because I think we're too far out. Yes, we're too far out to actually have satellite. Let me extend this while I'm thinking about it. There we go. Yeah, even extended, this thing is, I'm not going to have control over the probe. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and arm everything on this probe and then just like set it off. So that's why I'm pointing prograde here. Because if I'm pointing prograde, then it's pointing retrograde. So it's already going to be in the orientation where the heat shield is facing the onslaught of atmospheric molecules. So let's go ahead and arm these two. We've already extended the parachute, and we have a periapsis of 80k. And so hopefully, I don't think the ejection force will add enough. Well, we're going to quick save right here. I don't think the ejection force will bring this above 90. So, but we're going to find out. So at any rate, let's go ahead and decouple. Alright. Let's switch to it. And let's just see what happens. Again, I have no control over this probe whatsoever. Oh wait, hold on. Let's switch back. And I need to raise my apoapsis. There we go. Now let's switch here. Oh, periapsis is 116. So yeah, too high. Yeah, the ejection force is pretty great with those decouplers. So we'll go a little bit lower, and we'll do the same thing again. Hopefully it's clear what I'm doing at this point. Okay, so I think this is the one that's actually going to work. I've made a couple mistakes, and I think I've learned from them. So I'll tell you what those are real quick, even though I don't know for sure this is going to work. We're going to try. I am at 116 kilometers periapsis. And I'm going to point the craft retrograde, because pointing retrograde now means that the heat shield will actually be pointing prograde on the other side of the planet, since I'm 180 degrees on the other side of the planet. That's how it's going to work out. So we need to make sure I'm actually pointing retrograde now, which of course is the ejection force is going to take out some of the periapsis. So I'm hoping that 116 is the right number, that when this thing decouples, it goes down to kind of a reasonable height. Let's find out. Let's see, yeah, decouples, and 82. So yeah, that is now going to be inside the atmosphere, whereas the Rubik itself is not going to fall into the atmosphere. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and see. Let's actually see what happens to this thing. We're going to time warp kind of in this orientation. Where's the planet? Oh, here she comes. And you see what I'm saying? I kind of look like I'm going side on, but as I come around the planet, I should actually be facing with the heat shield towards the atmosphere. At least that's the idea. There we go. And we'll see. This still is pretty sketchy. 82 kilometers is still pretty high up. Or still pretty low in the atmosphere, I'm sorry, because Eve's atmosphere is just so strong. So yeah, really curious how this goes. But this is kind of the main point of this mission, is to see okay, so the power generating thing exploded, which I kind of expected. But we did not sink into the atmosphere. So that's a thing. Let's see if we can go all the way back around. Alright. And yeah, already out of electric charge. So the thing is going to be completely useless. But it was more just for fun anyway, just to see what was going to happen with it. And I really want to see it just kind of land by itself. Yeah, this is going to take too many passes. It's going to take a lot of passes to actually sink into the atmosphere. So, but it would eventually do it. I'll go around one more time and just see. Yeah, I mean, it will eventually fall. It will eventually fall to the atmosphere. I'm going slower and slower every time. I guess now the thing is that the blader's flying off really, really quickly. Like, I am not losing a lot of speed, but I am losing a lot of ablator. So, oh yeah, and then now it's also getting like kind of knocked off course. So this thing is a goner. We'll just chalk that up to being a failure. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh yeah, look at that though. It did reduce the apoapsis pretty significantly. So anyway, well, that was a fun little thing to do, and it wasn't gonna do anything anyway, sitting on the surface of the planet. So hopefully, it's not that big a disappointment that nothing happened. All right, so now all we have to do is see if we can intercept Gilly. So with that in mind, let's warp around somewhere convenient. And our descending node is the one we're going slower, so I will warp to the descending node. Let's click right there. And let the game do the warping for us. To the descending node, of course, we point normal. And I'll just change my inclination to match up with Gilly. And then I'll do some retrograde maneuver to find an intercept with it. Now, it is a very small planet, and it's very difficult to actually capture. So we're going to need a pretty significant amount of delta V just to get the capture. So let's hop on descending node. Near enough. And pull up in this. Okay, huge relative inclination difference. So I'll have to do this probably in several passes. All right, I was just curious, and I decided to set up a maneuver around the second time to see if I can change the inclination. And I noticed that there was a close approach, so I just kind of messed with it just a little bit of radial and a little bit of retrograde to actually get an intercept. And so now I'm going to fly around the planet and actually do that. All right, so we're getting close to this approach with Gilly. Let's start throttling down. Oh, there we go. Got one. And now what I'm going to do, because Gilly is actually really tough to circularize because it's so small, a lot of times you don't even have enough time to perform an entire maneuver to slow down enough. Oh. Stop it. There we go. One day. Yeah, okay, I think this time I actually will. This time I will be able to circularize. So there we go. Yeah, Gilly is really small, so sometimes it's hard to actually get a capture around it, just because you have to go so slow. And a lot of times you'll actually fly through the SOI before you manage to get a capture. But anyway, let's go ahead and warp over there. There we go. And pretty much, yeah, see, as soon as I got into the SOI, I had to start burning retrograde because the time. So now the thing is to consider here is that because I'm going slower and slower, this time to escape, see, it's staying still. 3 minutes 56 seconds. Because it's constantly recalculating it, and as I'm getting closer to it, I'm also getting slower. So the funny thing is going to happen here, where you're going to see the craft just struggling to slow down. If I do it in this view, you'll see. Where's Gilly? There we go. Just really slamming on the brakes to slow this thing down. And it's very, very tough. I'm already only going 370 meters a second with respect to it, so I'm already going very, very slow. But it's a tough planet to crack. So, or a moon. It's a moon. But yes, now the time to escape is getting further and further away, so I'm confident at this point that I will be able to actually get a capture around it. So, yeah, kind of a shame that I didn't get the the little probe to land on Eve. You know, that would have been a lot of fun. But, you know, frankly, I just didn't try hard enough, I guess. I think I probably should have considered a couple different things before I... Oops. There we go. I mean, like, I kind of knew that it was a little bit of a fool's errand, but... Here we go. And, well, let's get nice and low. I was wondering why I was flipping around so fast. It's because I'm in time warp mode. Let's get nice and low, so we can take a really good look at it. It's the last thing we're going to do in this game. Be kind of nice to see it up close. So quick save, and then warp over here, and let's take a good look at it. See all those textures. It's funny. You can see the pattern on it. The pattern isn't... It's pretty apparent on most of the things in this game, but not like that apparent. This one is very obviously like a tiled texture. So yeah, there we are. It does take a minute too, because going this low to the planet, your time warp is really, really low. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to put another edit here because it's just going to take forever to actually get around to the other side of the planet. But it is what it is. So there we go. The last thing we're going to see in the solar system is this just giant, lumpy, kind of funny-looking rock. And we're going to get pretty close to it. Yeah, so some of the other textures start popping in. Where's Eve? We get a nice look at Eve. There she is, way over there. There we go. Yeah, can't time warp below faster than 1 when you're this close to the planet. So anyway, we'll do a little bit of radial out to force ourselves into a higher orbit. There we go. Literally just brute force this above 8K so I can time warp. There we go. And that's actually going to be enough to escape. 31.9 meters a second is enough to escape. So anyway, all right, let's go ahead and go home. I think I'm done here. Ooh, kind of a nice circular orbit around Eve. It's not really circular, but it's kind of I don't know what I was trying to say. It looks nice. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, all I'm going to worry about now is getting out of the SOI of Eve. So I'm just going to point prograde and burn, and we will worry about a Kerb and intercept. There we go. When it is more appropriate to do so. We have, let's see. Yeah, we have like almost 8 grand still in this vehicle. We have so much Delta V. We could probably, if we were very careful, go really anywhere else to do anything else in the game that we wanted to from this point, and that would be okay. There it is right there. Set that as your target. I think what I'm going to do, I'm already near the ascending node, so I'll add a maneuver here and change my inclination a little bit, although it doesn't really look like I need to too much. Kind of hard to see. That looks about right. Then we'll add some prograde to that and see if we can get an encounter. Not this time. We might get one next time. That's close enough though. It's only a grand in Delta V. So I'll go there and perform that maneuver and we'll talk. Alright, so same as before. We've got the close approach little markers popping up, and I'm just going to cycle through the orbits and see if I get something close. That second orbit was very close. Yes, way close enough. Because I don't want to have to wait 1,000 hours to do this. So there we go. We'll use the second orbit. It's 350 days away. And perhaps a little bit of retrograde. No, it won't be retrograde, would it? It would be prograde. And some radial in. And I have so much Delta V, I think I can pretty much do any maneuver I want at this point. So we'll just do kind of a combination of things. We'll do some retrograde, and then now some radial in. closer and closer and closer. And there we go. So yeah, 1007 meters a second to get some kind of intercept with it. And that's what, a seventh of our total or something like that. We have 7,000. So we're doing great. This craft is like way overpowered. I think it's been like a theme in this playthrough. Has been like the ships have been, even if I haven't used them properly, which several times I haven't. Even if I haven't used them properly, the craft have been very capable of doing pretty remarkable things. So hopefully there's some design elements that you can take away from this in your own playthroughs of the game. Okay, and we're getting close to the intercept, or at least the projected intercept. There it is. Add the maneuver, switch to KSP. You know the drill. So I don't really need to talk about this at this point. We'll just, pass it up. Go around. Kerb. There we go. Alright, let's see what we can do. Oops. Went the wrong way with it. There we are. A little bit prograde, a little bit of anti-normal, bring it down. And I love this feature right here. This has been the best update to the game so far. Is to be able to click on these little buttons. There was a mod that did this, and I'm sure there still is. But there's a mod that did this that I loved whenever I had. And but now that it's implemented into the game, I like that. And I might actually get a daytime landing. That would be nice. Alright. Yep, something like that looks good. Wow, that is very equatorial. Okay. Let's go ahead and try to perform this maneuver. 20-second burn. Not too bad. So yeah, I guess I'll use this opportunity right here while we're kind of flying back home to say thank you for all of the support, everybody who's watching this and enjoying the content. I do appreciate it very, very much. This has been a great series for me. It's a game that I love, and it's a game that I was excited about doing. I didn't know. It's kind of a crowded marketplace with this game. There's a lot of people out there who do a really, really good job with this game and do some really, really incredible stuff. Stuff way above. Oops, I passed it up. It's okay. Way above the stuff that I'm doing. So, a little concerned that there wouldn't be any point in watching these videos. But I have been getting views on these videos, and the support has been awesome. So I really, really, really appreciate that. Special thanks to Acres Bravo, who's been and there. Yeah, who's watched all the videos and comments and likes, and he's just been very, very supportive of this whole series, and I really appreciate that. I have a great time going over to his channel. I think he has a good time coming over here, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you one more time to him for that, especially at this stage in my channel. Really, 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 really fortunate and nice to have that level of support. So I do very much appreciate that. Looking forward to seeing what else happens. I'm curious about the next, series or two. Let's go ahead and burn in. What have I been doing? Like 42 or so? Do 40. Do a quick save. Point retrograde. There we go. And I need to make sure the electric charge. Well, I'll go over here first. Let's just warp over here. Make sure I don't use up all my electric charge because I have to pull in those solar panels. Here we go. Pull in those solar panels. I don't think I'll run out of electric charge. I can always... yeah, because I'll be using the alternators on the engines, so I think it'll be okay. Let's turn these guys in this orientation. Yes, coming in very hot. Very, very fast. But we're just gonna see what happens and see how this one plays out. I think if you guys have watched the channel so far, you've seen how aggressive my re-entries can be sometimes. Here he is. I'm almost in the thick of it. We'll see. But I have so much Delta V. The only thing is, when you're going this fast, the atmosphere doesn't really do much to slow you down, because you have so much momentum because of your mass. You kind of just like plow through it. So really, I'm relying less on the atmosphere and mostly on these engines to actually slow me down. And these, of course, are like the lowest thrust engine, or it's not the lowest, but they're really, really low thrust engines. So, but it looks like I'm okay because I'm starting to go back up now, or I will be in a second. There we go. I'm starting to go back up, and I'm not overheating yet. Of course, I'm only going to be going slower and slower. So everything should be okay. Electric charge should be okay, so I can get rid of that view. Yeah, so everything is going to work out. And I have 5 grand Delta V, so I'm just going to keep on burning it. I would like to land on the day side of the planet, however. So I'll keep burning, but I'd like to see if I can get an intercept, or get a what do you call this? Trajectory. Get a trajectory where I'll land on the day side of the planet. Preferably round about KSP would be kind of cool. That's fine, just like that. Alright, let's fly around the planet. Oops. I'd like to see it too. There we go. Yes, there we go. I am definitely on a crash course with the planet at this point. Go ahead and arm my chutes. Just so I don't forget. And these things have nowhere near the correct thrust to weight ratio to actually like land this thing. But we will see we'll see how far we get in terms of slowing down. Really, the majority of the slowing down is going to be whenever I decouple, because the crew pod that I'm in is very, very light. Whereas the thing is just like a lawn dart at this point. Yeah, coming in very hot. Wait until just the last second. At this point, I'm just kind of curious what happens. And I also want to be really close to the crash site too to see it explode and stuff when it hits the ground. Look at that. Neat. Huh, why didn't these go off? It's interesting. I deployed all. Well, I wonder if when I clicked on it, I only clicked on one of each. That's probably what happened. There we go. And a safe return home. Clipping parachutes and all. So, yeah, I know this last episode's unfortunately not probably the most exciting one, because it's just a bunch of stuff that we've already done before, and we didn't land on a planet or anything like that. But I kind of want to take it easy and just kind of complete the goal of the series. Hopefully enjoy my commentary, and you'll come around for the next stuff that we do. There will be more KSP in the future. There will be more other video games. I'm open to suggestions or any kind of. This looks like the Windows XP background, like the way the hills roll here. Or is it XP? Or was it... Huh. I'm trying to think of what background that one launched on. Or what OS that background came with. Anyway, very cool. Let's go ahead and recover. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. I've had a great time doing this series, and I'm looking forward to doing more in the future. I hope you'll stick around and join me. Like, comment, subscribe if you're into that kind of thing. And other than that, I will see you guys on the next one. Yeah, there we go. Massive 2.3 science. Very cool. Get a bunch of experience for these guys, or 17 experience. There we go. Completed tech tree. Visited the entire solar system. Have about $1 million in funds. And there we go. One last look at KSC before we wrap it up. Thanks again one last time. And I'll see you guys in the future.